least I think like you. When I first read this, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, it's another type of preschool program, and I had asked Mark for all those same things. But then when we had an opportunity, you know, to talk, and he explained it to me, I came to understand it differently, that it's not something that's being added, it's merely a reconfiguration of what we have. And as Mark had pointed out, based upon staffing, it looked as if that there would actually be a reduction in staffing needs.
Correct.
For the preschool program.
You know, this presupposes increased numbers in the PM because of this multi-age.
But yet you don't know.
Right.
Until,
well, I think if it,
you know, what the enrollment's going to be. It's going to catch-22.
I think if it decreases staffing needs, it almost certainly, I mean, it will only be accretive to revenue, right? I mean, it can only be because it's an additional program that wasn't offered before.
Well, it's at a minimum, you have 3 new in the PM.
Right.
And with the need for only 1 as opposed to 2, it's accretive to the program.
Right, it has to be.
It has to be, right. Because in the interim, you're already paying for 2.
Nobody signed up for it, it'd be zero incremental cost, 0 incremental revenue.
I'm sorry, you know, not for nothing, you said that it's changing all the time. Sometimes we have mornings, sometimes we have afternoons. So that's why I just thought, you spent an hour and a half. I would appreciate if I was getting more information, you know. So then we got this, and I thought, okay, where are the numbers? I mean, if we're going to be responsible, fiscally responsible, you know, projections are numbers. I didn't even know what the tuition was, you know, for the full day. And that, okay, they're going to get a free lunch. I mean, that's great, but I wish that this information was.
I don't think they said they were going to get a free lunch.
Well, that's what I found out yesterday.
No, they're not getting free lunch.
Oh, the full day. I thought that you said lunch would be included. Well, see, that's
what I'm saying. That there's an opportunity for them to have lunch here.
A scheduled lunch.
Yeah.
A scheduled
I
lunch time.
specifically asked, is that an additional charge? Well, no, that would be included. So, see, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like I'm not getting all the information. And now we're going to have to make it, you know, it's an action item, and I just feel like.
So, Karen, for you, like right now, if you could tell us what additional information you feel you would need in order to make a decision, then I think what we'll need to do as the rest of us is to either, you know, concur that, yeah, you know, we want some more additional information on this, and if it's the consensus of the board that they need more information before approving this, then we don't approve it tonight. But if it's...
Well, with all due respect, I'm not sure what you got out, and it took you an hour and a half to get this information.
Karen,
you know,
that was me, and that was, you know, me as a board member.
You were working through it with your questions, and
Absolutely. I was proactive, and I took that responsibility upon myself so that I did not take up the board meeting with what I felt were my needs.
Oh, I'm sorry if I'm taking up the board meeting with my needs. I just feel like I would have appreciated having more information.
Karen, you have the opportunity.
But you have the opportunity to ask him.
I did.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. If you still need more, what is it? Tell us what it is you feel you need, because we won't approve something.
I didn't know what the fees were. I don't know, you know, the cost. Usually you do a cost-benefit analysis before you do a new program. You do projections. You give different scenarios. But I didn't even realize that we had afternoon. You know, I thought that changed. That, you know, sometimes we have afternoons, sometimes we don't. I just didn't feel like it was presented clearly. So that's all.
Okay, so for you,
it doesn't matter because
yes, it does matter because you're one of all of us. So if you don't clearly tell all of us what your needs are, we don't know.
I guess I don't know my needs until we discuss it. You know, that's why typically you put it up one meeting and you talk about it, and then you vote on it the next meeting. Just like, you know, you have time to digest it and look it over. I mean, this came up yesterday afternoon. You know,
absolutely, and that's why I said if the board isn't comfortable with this, then we can't postpone. You know,
I just don't know what else to ask at this point.
But to help you would want more on the costs. So, but other than
typically
that,
a cost-benefit analysis, who's all involved. You know, so we say that now we've got 9 people that would be interested in afternoons, right? Then what's the projection? How are you going to communicate this to the people?
There's another point on this, and this is a piece I left off. Typically, based historically, between this point in time and the beginning of the year, we get between 15 and 18 additional preschool students. So that's been the history. Now, will we get exactly that many between now and this August? You know, I can't guarantee you that, but historically, and what is good about this and why, this is kind of an unusual proposal to bring at this time, because we really didn't see this coming until about 3 weeks ago, when this also, we had this influx and here's what people wanted, and so we had to come up with another option. Every single year, we're in this position in terms of trying to juggle the afternoon programs. So this is not an unusual thing, and because they were never anything different, but a 3-year-old separate and a 4-year-old separate, we never bothered to bring that to the board, because we just informed the board that yes, we're gonna have this, because we have that many people wanting such. But because this was a programmatic change in the sense of a multi-age, I felt it needed to come to the board. In another month from now, I won't have like more definitive, I mean, I can do hypothetical projections in terms of we have this many kids or that many kids, but the problem
Well, I know
with this, let me just add this last point, that the problem with this is that the longer we would wait to announce this, we're gonna, if we don't get the word out to folks,
Oh, sure.
we would, then we might as well just say, and if the board wants to do that, fine, then we'll say, well, it's too much too soon, we'll just continue with our same kind of configurations, we could do that.
I'm not against multi-age, I think it's great, I'm not against, I just didn't feel like, back in, was it 2 years ago in November, when you guys talked about increasing the tuition for kindergarten, there were projections, there was studies, or you gave information as to what our charges are, what other schools are charging, what their fees were. I got this, well, what's it even cost? What are the fees out there? How are we going to communicate this? I just...
Can we break it down into 3 different things then? Can we break it down to expenses, and then charges, and then communication of those charges? So just looking at the expenses, the current program is run by 2 teachers, and it's run 5 days a week, AM and PM. I'm sorry?
Our entire program?
The Tuesday, okay, the 3-year-olds is Tuesday.
Yeah, it's 2 teachers, there they are.
Right.
3. There's 3 teachers.
PM?
No, that's why I want clarification. Are we talking about the entire program?
No, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the PM option.
Okay, that's, thanks.
It's run by 2 teachers.
2 teachers just for the update.
Okay, 5 days a week. So that's a constant that we have this year. Looking into the future with the combined class, we're talking about taking that down to 1 teacher.
Yeah, with a caveat, if we get an influx.
Of more children, you would need a second child.
Right, and we can handle that.
Right, and you can handle that as you're currently staffed.
Good
Correct.
point.
So what's going to happen with the other teacher?
So on the expense side, well, let's talk about this program first, and then I don't know what
It
other
should be
questions.
expensed in this.
I'm sorry?
Right now, there's
What
2
I'm saying
teachers
is,
that will back one out.
going back to Rick's thought, that it's accretive to the program, because now you're expanding the number of children, so I haven't even gotten to the cost benefit yet,
By at least 3.
okay, by at least 3, okay, and you're doing it based on current projections with 1 less teacher.
Right, and so you're reducing cost, you're adding revenue, you have to be ahead, I mean.
Right, and we haven't even gotten to revenue. So
And then
let's-
if you had to increase cost,
Everything else is constant.
right, and if you had to increase cost by adding another, it
It
would
would be
only
because-
because you increased the revenue side to the degree that it justified adding another, so no matter how you slice it, it's gotta be accretive, it's gotta be an increase in total net revenue.
So that's the expense side. So let's go over to the revenue side. The revenue side is 3 additional 3-year-olds under current knowledge, based on all 3 that have inquired joining the program. 3 additional 3-year-olds in the PM program. I called and asked the other day if they were going to get charged the second set of fees for the second program, and was informed yes. So now we know that the second half of what Rick just said, the second half of the equation is accurate. The revenues will increase. So expenses will decrease, revenues will increase.
The parents know
Now for
and have
the
agreed to it.
third phase of that communication, I didn't talk to the parents, so I'm gonna leave that up to Mark and Matt.
And as Matt said,
And
I
Matt.
asked
Yeah.
that.
Right. So, I mean, shy of those 3, I'd be interested in hearing additional, and that's fine, but.
And what you're saying is you feel you have enough information.
Well, I think the only question I have about communication is, I mean, communication beyond the 9